Hello my students, Namaskar Khulunka. I am your English teacher banik, PGT English, Borjola Binapani Higher Secondary School, Jirania. And today we will be reading a poem of Standard 9 from your book Beehive. So my students, since when the awareness against coronavirus has started, our government, the WHO, the doctors, then the different authorities, they have been persistently trying to spread a message. And what's the message? That message is grow your immunity. They are asking us to have lukewarm water with honey, ginger, garlic and all that. Why? How is growing immunity going to help us to fight against COVID-19? Because my students, growing immunity means you are making your body so strong from inside that nothing can harm you from outside. For example, your mother always has your back. Your father, your mother, they're always asking you to eat milk, fruits, vegetables. And why so? Because these are the foods that are going to give you huge amounts of vitamins, minerals, protein, roughage, fibers and whatnot. And these things are going to make your body so strong that you can fight against any kind of diseases like fever, headache and all that. Okay? So here my students, we see that being immune or being strong is very important. And not only immune, that is not only being physically strong, but also being mentally strong. Now why so? Because you may find students, there are many people who may try to hurt you or say you insulting words, but then if you are mentally strong, you are not going to respond to them. Or you won't feel hurt by their words. And you can give them a good reply as well. Why? Because you are very strong. People may try to break you down, pull you down. But if you are strong, they cannot do you any harm. Okay, so we see the last line is that be strong. Strong physically, strong mentally. Study well, eat well, sleep well, think well. Only then your personality will be very appealing to others. So now you must be thinking why ma'am is talking about being strong and immunity and physical strength and mental strength and all that. Because today our poem also gives us the same message. As you will read the poem, you will understand why being strong is so important. So what's our poem? It's the poem Wind. Wind, written by Subramania Bharati. Okay, so before moving into analyzing our poem, let's first look about our poet. Okay, so the poet of our poem Wind is Subramania Bharati and his full name is Chinnaswamy Subramania Bharati. He was born in Tamil Nadu in the year 1882. So our poem Wind was basically a Tamil poem which was written by Subramania Bharati. Subramania Bharati was also known as Bharatiyar. Okay, and he was a Tamil writer, a poet, a journalist, a social reformer as well as an Indian independence activist. So my students, you might be thinking if this poem was written in Tamil, then who translated it? Okay, so it was translated to English from Tamil by A.K. Ramanujan. A.K. Ramanujan, he is an Indian writer, a poet who writes both in English as well as Kannada. Alright, that's all. So now let's straight away move into our poetry. Students, in this poem, the poet says the wind brings with it a lot of destruction and how everything falls apart due to the wind and how we can cope up with the adversities of our life. So in a way, the wind here stands for the adversities or the problems that we face in our lives and how we can fight against them. Okay, for example, my students, the recent cyclone that has been hitting the shores of West Bengal, Bangladesh, Odisha, you must have heard about the cyclone Amphan and how it is bringing mass destruction along with it, right? So these are some natural incidents that we cannot control And the wind is also like that. Sometimes the wind is so pleasant to us, like in a very scorchy, sunny day where the wind blows very mildly, we love it. And then the cyclonic winds or the strong winds that come during before a heavy rainfall or during a rain, those things actually makes us little shiver with fear. Okay, so the poet here is actually talking about the dangerous winds that bring destructions with it and how we are going to fight it. Let's start. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. So you see, here in the first few lines, the poet is actually pleading to the wind that wind, you please come slowly. Don't come in a rush. Don't break the shutters of the windows. He is asking the wind that wind, come softly. Otherwise, you will break the shutters of the windows. And what are shutters, my students? Shutters are the panels of the windows to keep light out. Like for example, you can refer them as the glass windows, like the shutters of the glass windows. Okay. So he is saying that don't come very fast, you will break the shutters. Don't scatter the papers. He is asking wind, go slow, else he will scatter the papers. Right students, whenever there is a fast wind, when it comes, it actually scatters down the papers. Right? Okay. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. Like a huge wind has come, it has such force that it has almost it has pulled down the bookshelf, that the books are also now lying on the ground. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. See, wind, what you have done. You came so fast in such a hurry with such force that the bookshelf has fallen. You tore the pages of the books. Now when the books, they fall on the ground with a force, my students, you can very well understand that they would be torn. They would fall apart. You brought rain again, and with that heavy wind came a huge rainfall as well. So basically, this kind of wind is almost like a cyclonic, a mild or a major cyclonic wind, right? Like the winds that come and we have to close the doors, we have to close the windows, and the electricity also goes off and everything like that. So this kind of an environmental incident is not very, we don't like all these things, right? So he is telling the wind that wind, please come slow. So in a way, he is saying that he is asking the problems of the life that stay away. Because if you come, you are going to create a lot of troubles in our lives. Okay, he says that you have brought the rain. That means you have brought the flood again, and this flood has washed away everything. Crumbled houses, buildings, bodies, lives, hearts. What does that mean? That everything is ruined. People have lost their loved ones, their houses, their properties and everything. And that's why the people, they have lost their hearts, their minds, their all hope, their determination. Everything has been destroyed by the wind. So how are they going to tackle this situation? What's the way out to come out of this? Because students, life goes on. Life won't stay at a halt because of any major misfortune or something. We have to go on in life. That's the rule. So what we have to do? We have to come out of this situation, and that can only be done if we are strong from inside. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. See, my students, now the poet has started to accuse the wind, and he says that wind, you have come at such a speed and with such dangerous motives that you have almost crushed everything. He said you have crumbled everything. Crumble, what does it mean? Crumbling means to fall or cause to break, that you have broken down everything. And he says that you are clever at poking fun at weaklings. Poking fun means to make fun of something. He says you know you are strong, and that's why you are poking fun and you are making fun of the weaklings. That means you are making fun of the weaker things. This is not good, right, students? If you are strong and you are you have everything, so you are not going to make fun of other people who are something lesser than you. So he is telling the wind that wind, don't make fun of the weaker people. We are weak, than you, that does not mean that you are going to make fun of us. And see what you have done. You have crumbled everything. You have broken or made everything fall down. And what are those? See, my students, the word crumble has been used here almost 7 times there. Okay, crumbling houses, like the houses have fallen down. Crumbling doors, then rafters. Rafters means structures to support the roof of a building. Okay, then crumbling wood, bodies, lives and hearts. And as I had said in the introductory part, that we have to be strong not only physically but also emotionally. So he says that not only that you have destroyed different properties of people, but you have destroyed the people as well. Many people have died, or many people have lost their mental balance, or emotionally also you have made them break down. For example, my students, you may face a problem in life or a failure in life, and then you feel like no, you can't do it again, and you start losing hope. But no, you should not do that. You should be like failure. Come whatever times you may, but I'm going to fight against you and I'm going to win at last. This should be your attitude against the adversities of life. So now let's move to the next lines. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's joint the doors firmly. Practice to form the body, make the heart steadfast. So now what the poet is doing, that now that he has already learned that how strong the wind is and what mass destruction it can cause and what effect it can have on the lives of people, he now compares the wind to some god, like a god who has multiple powers, and he compares the actions of the wind to the action of winnow or winnowing. And what is winnowing? My students, you may see in the picture right there that a basket is there where the harvested grain is kept, and then the ladies, they sieve like this. They sieve the basket so that the grain is separated from the chaff. So the husk, it falls down and the solid rice or the solid grains stay on the basket. So what the wind does, why he is referring to the process of winnowing here? Because in this way he says that the wind also sieves every people. The wind sieves people, and then the strong ones, they stay intact, and the weaker ones, they fall down and they are blown away with the wind. Okay. For example, if you had a failure in life and then you lose hope, then you cannot succeed in life again. But if you think like, it's okay, this is only the first time, I'll try again, the second, the third, the fourth time, then no one can pull you down, right? The same way, the poet is asking us that if you are strong, then you are not going to be a victim of the winnowing action. You are going to stay intact. No one can replace you. But if you are weak, you are going to be like the chaff, and you are going to be blown away by the wind. Okay, so what he says now, he says that he won't do what you tell him. He is scolding the rain almost, and he is saying that, you see, I have told the wind to come slowly, but it is not coming softly or slowly, but it is raining, it is crumbling down everything. So he is not doing what I have told him to do. So come. Now if someone does not listen to you, then what you have to do? You have to adjust yourself so that the actions of others do not hamper your personal space. Right? So he says that let's do something, let's join the doors firmly and practice to form the body. So he is asking, let's close the door, let's close the windows, let's close our bodies. Means close down and get ready so that you can fight against the wind, and the wind cannot even enter into the house. Strong homes. Now that there was a cyclone, the wind has come and the house has collapsed. So what can we do now? We have to build the homes so strongly that the wind cannot bring it down. In a way, he wants to say that we have to build ourselves so strongly that the problems of life cannot touch us or cannot affect us. He says, let's build strong bodies and make the heart steadfast. Make your heart so strong that no one can break it. Okay, now let's move to the next lines. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. So now he says that let's do friendship with the wind. What cannot be stopped by you has to be tamed by you, right? If you cannot control something, then you have to adjust with that thing. So he says, let's do friendship with the wind. Because the wind has some positive qualities also. For example, this candle, you see, it has got a tiny fire. I blow it off and it's gone. But can I control and can I stop the mass fires that break out in the jungles or the forests? No. How? Why? Because the wind here did not stop me from blowing it away. But the wind in the jungles, it helps the fire to spread out. So those things we cannot control. So in a way, the poet is trying to say, if your efforts are small, then the wind is not going to help you. But if your effort is good, is strong, then the wind will also support you. In a way, he wants to say that even the problems will say sorry to you if you don't let it rule over you. This friendship is good. That means what? That means being friends with your problems is also good. Because if the problems come to know, no, this person, this boy, this girl is so determined, I'm not going to ruin his plans. Your problems will also move away from you. Your problems, you can even draw positive things from the problems. See, you fail once and the next time you know what are the things you should not do so that you don't fail again. So we also learn from our failures, right? We also get to learn from the problems. Be so strong physically, emotionally, mentally that no problem can affect you, because it's only the weaker people who are affected. The strong people stay strong whatever happens. For example, a person who has lesser money, if his house is collapsed in a cyclone or something, he will lose hope. He may even do something with himself, right, out of tension. But if he has a strong heart, he will say, I will create again. I will build a home again. A sick person, an ill person who thinks, I cannot overcome this disease, can actually not overcome. However medicines you give to that person, if that person's mental will is not strong, that person will stay with the disease. But your willpower helps you to come from any kind of problems. This is what the poet says. And make friends with your problems also. Learn from your problems. Learn from your failures. See, my students, in the very initial lines, the poet is comparing the wind to a kind of a small child. And he is actually advising him, come slowly, come softly, don't do this, don't do that. And then in the subsequent lines, he finds that no, he cannot control the wind. And now the wind is like kind of a yacht whose energy is limitless and who can even construct something, or he can also destruct something. The poet says we have to be friends also with the wind, and the wind is also a friend to us, because you see, wind has some advantages also. It brings rain, it cools down the environment. Okay, it cools down the land, and then wind is also used for creating of electricity in the windmills and the wind turbines. So it's up to us how we are going to modulate all the energies of the wind, be it positive, be it negative, but we have to modulate these energies so that we can reach to our goal. We should not be afraid that wind is a obstacle in our path, but we should use wind and channelize it according to our own will. There's a huge saying by Corey Ten Boom, students, that the mountain plants or the trees, they have no choice, but they have to accept whatever weather conditions they face at the top of the mountains. But if it has only one choice, that it has to grow its roots so deep that no weather condition can make it fall down. This is how we have to act in our lives. We have to grow our roots so deep that nothing can uproot us. We have to be so strong that nothing can make us fall apart. So now let's get into a quick summary of our poem.
Okay, so let's talk about the summary of the poem. The first part of the poem describes the action of the wind. The poet asks the wind to come softly. He requests the wind not to break the shutters of the windows, not to scatter the papers and throw down the books from the shelf. But the wind throws the books and tears the pages. The poet says that the wind makes a mockery of weaklings. It brings down frail houses, crumbling doors, rafters, and even weak hearts. It crushes everything that is weak. The poet advises us to be strong. Only then we can save ourselves from the wind. We should build strong homes with firm doors. Our bodies and hearts should also be strong. It is the way of the world to kick the weak and to be friends with the strong. The wind blows out the weak fires but makes the strong fires roar and flourish. Thus, the poem conveys the idea that nobody cares for the weak, even the wind is on the side of the strong people. We must make ourselves strong to be successful and overcome the challenges of life.
Let's talk about the different literary devices. First, let's talk about the rhyme scheme. You see, my students, this poem has got no definite rhyme scheme as such. So, it's a free verse. Okay. The second literary device is anaphora. What is anaphora? When a word is repeated at the start of two or more consecutive lines. If two or more consecutive lines begins with the same word, then this kind of a pattern is known as anaphora. For example, if you look into the line number 2, 3, 4, it begins with don't, and if you look into lines number 6, 7 and 8, it begins with you. Okay. The third literary device is personification. You all know what is personification. It means when human attributes are given to non-living things. For example, in the poem, the wind has been referred to as you. What does it mean by you? That means the poet is trying to give a human appearance or human qualities into the wind. The next literary device is repetition. You see, my students, the word crumbling has been used more than 5 times. In fact, I think 6 or 7 times the word crumbling has been used. And why? In order to emphasize the destructive effects of wind. Okay, so repetition. Then comes alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration means when the same consonant sound is repeated in close connected words. In words that are the words in close association. For example, you see wind, winnows, and won't, want. So the W sound, the consonant sound of W is very much evident in these words. So this is an example of alliteration. Next comes symbolism. Symbolism here stands for that the wind is a symbol here for the problems or the adversities of our life. So this is an example of symbolism. So that's all about the literary devices. Now let's discuss some questions.
Okay, so let's discuss the questions from your textbook only. What are the things the wind does in the first stanza? When the wind blows violently, it destroys everything. It breaks the shutter of windows, scatters the papers, throws the books down from the shelves, tears their pages, and brings along a lot of rain. Then question number 3, what does the poet say the wind god winnows? The wind god winnows means that nature saves the weak things from the strong ones. Everything that is weak is tossed by the powerful wind and gets destroyed. Next question, what should we do to make friends with the wind? We must make ourselves strong to face the violent wind. When we will be strong, the wind will not harm us. Instead, it will become a friend and help us to grow and flourish. What do the last 4 lines mean to you? The last 4 lines of the poem carry a very important message that the strong people emerge stronger and victorious in the face of adversities. We must make ourselves strong like a burning fire which grows and flourishes in the violent wind. We also prosper in the face of challenges. Okay, so now let's discuss the last long answer question, that is question number 6. How does the poet speak to the wind, in anger or with humor? You must also have seen or heard of the wind crumbling lives. What is your response to this? Is it like the poet? So the answer you can say like that, yes, the poet speaks to the wind with anger. Strong winds causing plenty of damages and destruction to both life and property. Storms, cyclones, and strong winds wreak havoc on lands. They uproot trees, destroy houses, and claim thousands of lives. Though winds come strongly, devastating properties mercilessly, yet we cannot ignore the fact that it also brings rain. It cools the land, makes the climate pleasant. Nowadays, wind energy is harnessed for several useful purposes, including turning of windmills, wind turbines, and generating electricity. And then the three important questions, that is the title. In the title, you will talk about that. Yes, the title is very much justified because the entire poem is about wind only, its destructive properties, or how it's useful to us, how it's useless to us, or what are the problems and what is the message given by the wind and all that. In the summary, you can talk about whatever I have told in the recapitulation part, and in the central idea, you are going to discuss about all the themes in the story, in the poem, that is about how to be strong and why physical and mental strength is very important in order to withstand the adversities of life.
Okay, so that's all about the literary devices and the questions and about the theme or the message that we get to learn in this poem. What's that? That is, we have to be strong. That's the only thing. We have to be strong physically, we have to be strong mentally, so that we can behave smartly in front of all problems, and no problem can actually make us afraid of. We will face them very smartly. Okay, so meet you soon with another topic. Until then, stay fit, stay strong physically, mentally, stay home, stay safe. Thank you and bye.